Hey guys, welcome to another video. For today's video we're going to be looking at another budget gaming PC. So I get a lot of questions about budget gaming PCs from a lot of console players, guys that want to switch over to PCs. So for this video we're going to put something together looking at a budget of about 8,000 to 9,000 rand. Pretty simple, a lot of it's second hand, cases and fans new, power supply new, but motherboard, RAM, graphics card, all of the more costly items slightly cheaper. So I hope you enjoy. For motherboard, buying a second-hand motherboard, they can be a little bit dirty. I mean, this is a pretty decent motherboard. So first thing we do, run it with a toothbrush just to take off all the dirt, remove all the components, give them a good clean. Toothbrush does seem to help. Obviously try not to push too hard to damage any other components. For the SSD, you're looking at a 240 gig Klevv Nvme M.2 SSD. They used to be sold, obviously I got the second hand, they used to be sold at Antec, and Antec's got generally pretty good prices when it comes to SSDs. So just to give it another once over, I tend to use a paintbrush, a fine bristle paintbrush. It works pretty well. Toothbrush just to loosen up all the dirt, and then just the paintbrush just to remove everything from the motherboard. For the motherboard, you're looking at a MSI B450M Bazooka Max Wi-Fi motherboard. Pretty solid motherboard. If you can still find them, usually they go for, well, they used to go for about 1,000 to 1,200 rand. Now you need to look around to find something that at that price. But I mean, anything around about there, up to 1,500 rand, is a pretty good deal for a motherboard nowadays. I see prices have kind of shot up. In terms of features on the motherboards, you've got an 8-pin CPU power, 4 slots for RAM, so you've got a bit of upgradability. Obviously it is a Wi-Fi motherboard, so for cleaning out the CPU, just a microfiber cloth, wipe off the old thermal paste. We're going to give it a good change. To remove the CPU cooler, if you undo the screws, just give it a slight twist, don't push too hard, and it'll break the seal. Otherwise you take out the CPU with the CPU cooler. That's not always fun. So Ryzen 5 3600, it's a 6-core 12-thread CPU with a boost clock of 4.2. We're going to replace the thermal paste and then put the CPU cooler, fit the CPU cooler back to the motherboard. And I mean, that's pretty much it. What I've also gone and done is turn the fan around. So just by loosening 4 screws that hold the fan in, you can actually shift it around so the AMD logo is on top. That's just for the fun of it. Why not? And then for the SSD, we're just going to mount it back in place. This PC, I managed to get a 1 terabyte hard drive installed with it. So you've got a 240 SSD to run your operating system, and then you've got a 1 terabyte storage drive. You can go bigger, but this type of thing is to try and keep costs as low as possible, and then basically upgrade as you go. For the RAM, we're looking at a 16 gig kit, a 16 gig kit of Klevv DDR4. It's two 8 gig sticks, and they are 3200 megahertz memory. Also, this was at one stage quite big with Antec. It came with the board. And then you got some RGB on your SSD and on your RAM. For the case, the Gamdias, a nice white case, Gamdias Mars E2 LITE tempered glass case. It is a M80X case, so it takes a smaller form factor. Usually I prefer to go for smaller form factor for the smaller motherboards. You don't have to go too big, it kind of looks out of place. For the fans, these are ARGB fans from Antec. Pretty cheap option. I think they were 700 Rand, they're new. And in the case, they were running a special on the case at the time. I think most of them are sold out nowadays. So we're going to install some fans, give it a little bit of RGB, and a rear I/O shield. Never forget the rear I/O shield, otherwise, yeah, it causes its own problems. It doesn't really cause problems, it just looks crap, and you don't want to sell a PC that doesn't have an I/O shield on it. It's not very fun. So we're going to put, for the fans, the kit comes with 5 fans, so we can do something like one at the back, one at the top, and then 3 in the front, just to give it that nice RGB look. So let's install some fans. So there we go. So we've got 2 fans on top, 1 fan at the back. We've got the original fan that came, the 120mm fan that came with the case. We're going to put it in the bottom. You don't see much in the bottom, otherwise it lights up the PSU shroud. It lights up the end of the case, and then you see all the cables sticking out. So we're going to give it a bit of a mix. And once you put the side panel on, then hopefully it'll so 2 RGB fans in the front, so in total a total of 6 fans for the system. Not that it really means much, because the case itself doesn't have too much airflow in the front, but any little bit counts. And the components that are going to the case aren't very power hungry. So now we install the motherboard. Okay, you're just going to find 1 screw, put it in by hand first, just so you don't thread the screw, just to hold it in place, and then 1 by 1 put all the screws in the motherboard. And for the power supply, a 550 watt Antec Atom V550 non-modular power supply. It's a budget power supply, so I mean, not much you can say about that. Trying to build it as cheap as possible, yet still new. So still new, still comes with a warranty. I don't think it's a A-tier mother's power supply, but it'll do what it needs to do for this type of build. And then run through all the cables. And then for the graphics card, we're looking at a Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1650 Super. This is the OC 4GB DDR6 version. Nowadays, the 1650s you can pick up for about 2,000 Rand. So it's not a bad deal. More for esports and that type of thing. You can run AAA titles, but it's technically a 1080p low setting type graphics card. So if you're into that type of thing, then this could just about work for you. Obviously at a later stage with a power supply like this, you can upgrade it. And so let's have a look at the PC, and then jump into a game of Halo and see how the PC performs. Guys, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. If you feel free to like, subscribe, and if you have any comments, just put them down in the description below. If you're looking for something similar and want to see more performance, I am busy uploading a whole bunch of benchmarks for this type PC, and this is something you can pretty much build yourself. If it's in your area and you can find some pretty good deals on some what's names, let me know down in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
Irresistible force, meet object.